There was another Halloween episode from the Amazing World of Gumball called The Scam, but the Ghouls really gave me the impression that, with it being a Season 6 episode, they wanted to showcase what they have, but since that they had limitations of some sort, they couldn't make this episode 22 minutes. Maybe it's just me, but it really feels like that this third Halloween installment of this show would have been something else entirely, but with the nature of this show, it really feels like that the many bad episodes are mostly common in a way that there's so many missed opportunities that the comedy just isn't always the answer to everything. The plot of this episode is that Carrie takes Gumball and Darwin to different places while kids aren't afraid during the Halloween season, meaning that Halloween isn't what it used to be when it comes to scaring people, since it has no effect on them. I really have to say that the idea behind it really makes sense, because I did sit through a lot of material involving characters getting scared, which the same thing applies to the first episode that I kickstart this Halloween mania, mainly the SpongeBob episode. So it was really bound to happen to come across these episodes that have a similar plot, but at the same time, considering that the SpongeBob episode did a lot more better than this, mainly the fact that despite being the same runtime at this, they still have better execution, and it's not because of better characters, because the characters in this are fine. At the same time, they don't do anything when it comes to the three main characters, Gumball, Darwin, and even Carrie. 3 years ago, I talked about the Halloween episode from this show that did center around Carrie, so having her being the main character in this can still have potential, since that it does center around scaring people during Halloween. But with the elements that we're going to be getting into very soon, it really feels like that what she contributes towards the end is just mainly a cop-out to make up everything else. But it just showcases that this is the weakest Halloween episode of the trilogy of Halloween episodes of The Amazing World of Gumball. The characters that Carrie shows, Gumball and Darwin, are Mr. Candy, whoever says Candy 3 times, he appears and he is about to haunt them, but the kids just want candy, which showcases that they're not afraid of him. The second character is a reference from one of the popular Halloween movies, but apparently that didn't scare the construction worker who's been working in the sewers. The third character is called the Walking Shadow that walks near Rocky, which terrifies him, but he found a solution by using a treadmill in order to stop him from following him, which in all honesty, it's a weird way to wrap up this mini plot, but this kind of sums up the nature that whenever something ends up happening, you get the unexpected that really shows that you were not expecting it. The fourth character was that he placed a VHS tape on the floor for anyone to watch it from, but as it turns out, with this being released in 2018, VHS tapes were no longer an option, since that streaming has become the major alternative, which means that VHS tapes really didn't affect people who were growing up during this time. So it's honestly clever, but at the same time showcases that people are not afraid of VHS tapes, since that they never grew up with VHS tapes. And the final character, who was planning on having someone to watch a really scary movie that could traumatize them, backfires, since that they actually enjoy scary movies, indicating that they don't get scared of and mostly find satisfaction into watching horror movies. And that's basically it until Gumball is willing to give in order to do Carrie a favor for the sake of making everyone feel terrified during Halloween, but for the wrong reasons, for how Carrie wants to take it to a whole nother level by making people being afraid during Halloween, but Gumball didn't think it was gonna be this big of a scale. It really feels like that the ending of this episode is the end of the first half of this plot, even though that is really the end of the episode. Like, this really feels like it's been cut in half, while the other half just never became a thing. The song that the characters sang in the beginning of the episode is unique, and it kind of shows that they were trying to go all out with this, but with it being 11 minutes, this really feels like that the episode was cut in half, and they literally did the minimum of making sure that everything is connected when it comes to Halloween not being scary, but the ending, while they did show that Halloween can't be scary when it comes to having the character having a higher favor thanks to another character, mainly Gumball, you would expect something to happen in the second half, but apparently you get nothing once the episode ends. This has become a theme where Gumball and occasionally Darwin cause situations that led to chaos in Elmore towards anywhere they go, and the spell that they want to carry to Enchanted, mainly Gumball, I really feel like that this would have led to something else entirely if there were actual solutions to reverse the consequences that Gumball caused. But since that the episode ends, it really makes Gumball and Darwin mostly an afterthought, considering that they just follow Carrie to different places that Halloween just isn't as it used to be. So whenever I see them towards the end after the spell was enchanted, they made them citizens of Elmore rather than actual characters, which they are citizens, but what I mean is that they don't contribute much unless if they're the focus of the episode, which in all honesty with the citizens of Elmore ended up becoming somewhat of a focus in this when it comes to getting scaled by Halloween characters, which didn't work out for them. It really gave me the impression that Gumball and Darwin would probably have to reverse the damage by telling Carrie to undo the spell, making everything back to normal, which is something I would see what they were doing towards the end of the episode if you look into it, but at the same time, if it wasn't the case, then I'm pretty sure that they would have made a better 22-minute episode by making the second half having Gumball and Darwin avoid any scary situations in the destruction that Gumball caused. But again, that just sums up everything on what makes this episode really underwhelming. It really feels like that they have potential into making a really good third Halloween episode of The Amazing World of Gumball, but it really feels like that the only thing that they can make this episode really interesting is mainly the song that the characters sing in the beginning, which for me sums up a lot that they just ran out of ideas by doing a Halloween episode. And with Gumball returning, I'm pretty sure that they don't have any knowledge of doing another Halloween episode because they ran out of ideas into doing Halloween material, so looking at this episode, it really shows. Like, the motivation of what this episode is doing involving the Ghoul characters is mainly them being terrifying with the direction that The Amazing World of Gumball always takes when it comes to different scenarios, which they did succeed, but if you're looking at a Halloween episode expecting something extraordinary, then you might as well watch the first Halloween episode and maybe the second Halloween episode, The Scam. This isn't really the best choice to reviewing a Halloween episode, especially since that the second Halloween episode could be superior over this, but let me just say that this Halloween Mania, when it comes to these episode reviews in particular, well, mostly the ones that I have a difficult time doing. Granted, I would probably have a different mindset if I was doing the second Halloween episode, but then again, when I came to the conclusion on doing this second Halloween Mania, it's mostly a mistake, but I pretty much know that I'm not gonna be doing this again next year, which kind of indicates that doing multiple reviews off of a holiday is not really the best idea. Granted, I'm giving Halloween more of a chance, but at the same time, there's another reason onto why I'm not doing a Halloween fanfic for this year. In all fairness, this isn't the worst Halloween episode, but that doesn't automatically mean that I'm going back to this episode anytime soon. Seeing through it once is enough, and the only time I might consider on rewatching it is if I'm ever going to binge watch The Amazing World of Gumball, which is gonna be unlikely. I'm giving this episode a 5 out of 10.